Why do I have so many rubbish photos? Why indeed, Rick? Hi, Rick here, creator and indeed all things at the splendid Photography Explained podcast. Thank you for joining my channel. I hope that you're well. In this video, I'm talking about why I have so many rubbish photos. Yes, really, rubbish photos. Now, we all have them. Let's not pretend that we don't. And it's okay, it really is, as long as you do something about it. First off, though, here is the Answeary bit from episode 195 of the splendid Photography Explained podcast, which was cunningly called Why Do I Have So Many Photos and Why It's Okay and What I'm Doing About It. Right, this is the Answeary bit. Now, this might sound like an odd question, but I have loads of rubbish photos cluttering up my Lightroom catalogue, clogging up my hard drives, and preventing me from finding the good stuff that must be in there somewhere, surely. Now, how did I let this happen? Why do I have so many rubbish photos? And what am I going to do about it? In this episode of my splendid podcast, I will tell you how this happened, how many photos I have, and what I'm going to do about it. Oh yes, and why I'm doing something about it now. Right then, that was the Answery bit, but in this video I want to talk about how I ended up with so many rubbish photos, which will hopefully help you by preventing you from doing what I did. So Rick, how do you have so many rubbish photos? Well, my Lightroom catalogue has got photographs in it from 2005. That's nearly 20 years ago, that. Obviously, it being the back end of 2024 when I record this. So that's 20 years, starting in 2005 when I moved from film photography to digital photography. I didn't even know 2005 was the year this happened, but it is. Lightroom tells me this, it's a fact. So my Lightroom catalogue has captured my photographic journey from amateur or hobbyist photographer, depending on where you are, to where I am now. Yep, it's captured every step along the way, and it is an invaluable record of my own personal photographic journey. But boys, there's some rubbish in there that I need to get rid of. There really is. Okay, so how did this happen? Well, firstly, I wasn't clear what I was taking photos of, or indeed why. Now, what do we expect to achieve if we're not sure what we're taking photographs of or why? When I started taking photos, I would photograph anything and everything, and I had no idea what I was taking the photos for or why. I was just photographing anything that I saw, learning stuff, trying stuff, and that's fine, absolutely fine. This is part of the photographic journey anyone serious about the photography goes through, so I'm not saying don't do this, far from it. But to add to this, I was taking too many photos. So as well as not being sure what I was taking photos of, I was taking loads of photos of these things. Far too many photos. I'd go to a place and I'd take 10 photos of the same thing, and I'd get back and I'd try and find a good photo on my computer. There must be one in there somewhere, right? This is what I thought I needed to do. Photograph everything and find something later in Lightroom. Yep, that was what I thought I had to do. And the question I've asked myself since is, why did I think that? I don't really know. So, yeah, do this, photograph everything, and there's going to be a great photo in there somewhere, isn't there, right? Wrong. No, there isn't. And let me give you some numbers on this. For a shoot for a client of a building where I needed to produce 20 photos, I could take, 200, 300 photos. And to put this into context with now, if I'm photographing a building for a client and I need to produce 20 photos, if I take and edit and issue 20 photos only, I've absolutely nailed it. Never happens because I'm not that good. I might take 30 photos, maybe more, but I'm not taking 200 or 300 photos. So how do I do this? Simple. My one photo rule. Yeah, I'm going to cover this in a new podcast episode in 2025. If you want to know more now, just check out episode 152. I mention this loads of the time. But 2025, there will be a new episode and new videos where I talk about this. So something for us all to look forward to there. How utterly splendid. But basically, my one photo rule is about taking, guess what? One photo of a thing, whatever that might be, and it works a treat. Okay, more contributing factors to why I have so many rubbish photos. Auto exposure bracketing. What's auto exposure bracketing? Well, this is where you take more than one photo simultaneously with different exposures to capture a wider range of lights and darks. So obviously this has contributed to the problem, because every time I took a photo, I'm actually taking three. And if I don't sort them out at the time, as in get rid of the rubbish, that's triple the rubbish to sort later. So it makes the problem look worse than it is with my 85,000 photos, because when I delete one photo, as long as I remember to delete the three in the bracketed set, job done, I'm three less, so it helps me. RAW and JPEG. I used to take RAW and JPEG photos at the same time, and I wasn't very good at it. I wasn't very good at managing it. I didn't know what I was doing, and my catalogue got into a right old mess. So I've got a horrible mix of RAW and JPEG photos and TIFFs and stuff I edited with all sorts of other apps. So all these things contributed to a cluttered catalogue, and it's something I'm going to talk about in a future episode of the podcast and on this channel, how to organise your photos in Lightroom, which will stop this problem from happening. I covered this in episode 194. There's a couple of videos on this channel, so check them out and you can listen to the full podcast episode on this channel. Right, the photos that are okay to be rubbish. Yeah, let's not beat ourselves up here. Personal stuff, family photos, that kind of thing. This is not a formal requirement for every moment you capture to be perfect, far from it. Personal stuff should be the best you can capture, of course it should, but if that fleeting moment is technically rubbish but it captures a personal moment for you, who cares about the technical side of things? Nobody else cares, only us photographers. So always try to take the best photos you can, but give yourself a break if it's something personal to you. If you haven't got time to get your camera settings perfect and you're going to miss something, capture it. It's better to have a technically rubbish photo than no photo at all. There you go. Okay, how many rubbish photos do I have? I have no idea. When I started looking at this, I had 85,618 photos in my Lightroom catalogue. And I've been doing some work on this, going through the rubbish in my catalogue, and I'm down to 78,728 photos. So there's 7,000 odd photos there which have already gone, which is a brilliant start. But I don't know how many rubbish photos I've got. The answer to that will come when I've completed my catalogue culling, which I've given myself a year to do. I might do it a bit quicker, but I'll cover that one in a future video as well. Right, so what am I doing about this? Well, I've just mentioned that, haven't I? But if you want to get a weekly email from me, check out photographyexplainedpodcast.com or rickmcavoyphotography.com, where you can fill in a form and you can get a splendid weekly email from me. What is not to love? And in that email, one of the things I cover is my weekly progress of getting from 85,618 photos down to who knows what. Okay, taking rubbish photos. Well, it's part of the learning process, isn't it? It's an inevitable thing when we start taking photos seriously. You don't just buy a camera and automatically start to take great photos. That doesn't happen, and don't believe anybody who tells you that that is the case. A great camera does not guarantee great photos, far from it. A great camera, it gives you more and better opportunities to capture great photos. But remember this, you can take rubbish photos with a great camera. Never forget that. Taking rubbish photos, it's fine. We all do it in our own photographic journeys. But what's important is to learn from what we've done and manage the photos we take and store to minimise having photo catalogues cluttered with rubbish like me. Okay, so what do I do now? Well, I take fewer photos and I take fewer rubbish photos. And I'm also getting rid of as much rubbish as I can do. And I'm sharing all this good stuff with you to help you have only good stuff in your catalogue, whatever software you use. That's good stuff plus all the personal stuff. That doesn't have to be great, does it? We've already established that. And then there's my good old one photo rule, which I definitely need to revisit. So I'll do that early in the new year. Okay, ask me a question. Well, if you've got a question you'd like me to answer, just email me, sales@rickmcavoyphotography.co.uk, and I reply to everybody who takes the time and trouble to email me. And you can also check out the podcast website, photographyexplainedpodcast.com/start. And you can text me from the podcast feed on whatever device you listen to podcasts on. Right, that's me done. If you like this video, please let me know in the comments. Why not like this video and subscribe so you don't miss all the good stuff I've got coming up? On my channel, I talk about my podcast and any other photography-related stuff that's on my mind at the time. It's all good stuff, and it's all in plain English without the irrelevant details. Of course it is. How utterly splendid. Right, I'm done. Thanks for watching. Cheers from me, Rick.